What's up, guys? Fizz here. This is going to be episode 2 of the Fireburst Flameblast Elementalist.
And not before.
Real quick, I'm running a tier 14 shore map, fully sextanted and stuff, but I actually got like halfway through the map recording this video and noticed that I had hit start streaming instead of start recording, and yeah, I don't want to like run the map and then do another one because I'm tired. I don't want to go to bed. So I'm just gonna jump in. The map's like kind of like halfway done. So I'll just do I'll finish the map showcase here and then yeah. Sorry. Okay, so first things first, I'll get into it. Today, we spent multiple hours on stream theory crafting different cluster jewel setups, potentially to get more damage. The TLDR here is cluster jewels are not good. They're not worth it unless you're playing softcore. If you're playing softcore, you can get around like 2 times to 2.5 times, depending on how much defenses you want to give up to make it work, of my current skill tree. Though do keep in mind that my current amount of damage is not indicative of the endgame amount. And as you can see, tier 14 boss, awakening level 4, he went down relatively smoothly. I have been running like tier 14, tier 15 mostly, some tier 16s, with like enfeeble, hexproof, more life, increased boss life, you know, like all the general mods, no exposure. I've been running those and I haven't had really any problems. Usually the boss just takes, you know, like 10 seconds longer. It's not a real big deal. So the character has changed a lot from the first episode. So we'll go through passive changes first. So first and foremost, I completely unspec'd out of Constitution, unspec'd out of combat stamina. I really don't like this cluster here. And I completely rerouted the tree down to grab call to arms so we could have endurance charges in the build. So along the way, I was able to grab Juggernaut instead for the armor mastery on determination. I have a jewel socket here, which is a really nice jewel actually. I did end up corrupting it. So we got the life, the fire dot multi, and the cast speed on it. Running barbarism as well. So this tree is actually a little bit more life percent wise than going for Constitution. And like the actual change in life is negligible. It's like, I think, double-digit difference. And the biggest difference is because I get a little bit more percent life, but because Constitution gives some flat life, I think Constitution came out just a little bit ahead. But that was with like gear, different gear and stuff to what I have now. But basically, I'm level 92 right now. The next 4 levels up to 96 I'll use for Soulless Steel. This is purely defensive. I get a lot more armor going through here. This is 50% increased armor with 150 flat armor and +1 to max res. So this next 4 points will be very big in terms of defenses. If you wanted to, you could definitely grab more damage. You could use the next 4 points to go for Arsonist instead, or you could go for Holy Fire, depending on what you want. Both are 4 points. Those are probably the best ones to go for that I can think of. Yeah. So other than that, what changed? Well, I finally did go through Divine Judgment and grabbed Elemental Mastery for the Elemental Leech on ES. Feels very nice, very smooth, just as I expected. So I did end up fighting a T16 Veritania, and I also killed Cirrus today on the build. However, I meant to fight a A5 Cirrus. At the time I was level 90. Level 92 now for context, but at the time I was level 90. I meant to fight an A5 Cirrus, but I had a brain fart moment because I AFK'd before the fight and I spawned him at Awakening level 3 instead. Had I killed him at Awakening 5, I would have shown you guys the footage. But since I only killed him at Awakening 3, it was kind of whatever. And since I spawned him at Awakening 3, I just played around with him for a little bit in the fight and kind of like tested different stuff out. Basically, as expected, mana is a bit of a pain point. Cast speed is a bit of a pain point. However, there are a few upsides. For Cirrus, he's probably the worst boss for this build for 2 reasons. One, he's obviously incredibly mobile, very annoying to deal with, especially on a build that has to channel and aim. And 2, there's no ads in Cirrus, so it can be a little bit annoying to proc your Herald of Thunder because it won't proc in the fight, which there's a few things you can do. You can just take out Herald of Thunder for Cirrus and pop in a Clarity instead. Will help a lot with the mana issues. However, I probably wouldn't recommend that for pretty much any of the other bosses, like Elder spawning ads and Maven, all of that stuff. I think you would actually prefer to have Herald of Thunder during that because it's going to help a lot with clearing out all the ads. But yeah, I found out that for the most part, before you get frenzy charges and you have enough cast speed, it's honestly just really easy to just keep Arcanist Brand on the boss to keep proccing Fireburst and then use Vol Flameblast whenever it comes up. It was pretty smooth, pretty comfortable. And then I popped in like a Flameblast whenever I had the opportunity, but I did, I still, which is ridiculous, I still have not gotten a Corrupting Blood Jewel. I've corrupted well over 200 jewels this league, and I've still not gotten a single Corrupting Blood Jewel. So for the Cirrus fight, I actually unspec'd all of these 4 nodes you see here to grab Asylum, which is 4 nodes, and then the Mastery here for CB Immune. So I did lose a lot of cast speed here. This is 15% you see right here. I also ended up doing what I said I would in the first video, unspecking these 4 nodes. You end up saving 2 points, and if you put those 2 points in precision, you get 10% cast speed back, but you also get some dex. So in the end, you're only losing, I think, what, like 6% cast speed. Though if you can spare the points, like the tree may, once I get like up to like 95, 96, 97, the tree may end up going back towards this cast speed. Oh, forgive me, this is spell damage. So you're actually only losing, what, 2% cast speed? Yeah, this is 12. So you only lose 2% cast speed for foregoing this for this. But if possible, it would definitely be best to keep this cast speed because it's another 12 cast speed, 12% increase. And then when we get frenzy charges, which I will go over that in a second, when I get to the gear part, that's another 12% increased cast speed. So you can get a ton of cast speed on the build and then get those flame blasts out very fast, which makes 10 stack flame blasts, like even during Cirrus, a lot more feasible. Anyway, other changes. Finally pathed up and picked up Acrimony. Grabbed a skill effect duration node on there as well. If you're wondering, by the way, for the Elemental Mastery, why not increase effective non-damaging ailments? Well, I just really needed the leech. If I didn't need the leech, I would take it. For reference, I was getting around like 35+% shocks on Veritania with my current level of damage. So it's not like my shocks are, you know, super weak or anything, because I do have the increased effective ailments over here as well. So, you know, like, it would be nice, but I'd rather have the leech, since, you know, about a 1/5 of my raw HP is energy shield. Beyond that, to save a point, I actually did take 1 point out of block here for attack block. Mostly because I care a lot, like when I'm bossing, I care way more about spell block. And while I'm mapping, with my roomies up, I have 59 attack block, which is enough to mitigate, you know, quite a bit. So this 3% from the 1 node is like kind of whatever. I don't really feel the difference between 59 and 62, you know what I mean? And again, I really only care about like attacks, mostly just while mapping and not while bossing. Bossing is all about the spell block, so... yeah, beyond that, Are there any other changes to the tree? I do not think so. I do not think so. Everything else is the same. Just obviously the wildly different pathing from Constitution down here instead. And then changing this part up a little bit. And that is pretty much all. So I guess we'll get into the gear now.
When I'm ready, and not before.
So the staff is the same. I do want to say I was wrong in the last video. You do not need the things to be linked. I should have done more research on my part. When I glanced at different stuff on the ladder, everyone had 6 links. I guess that's my fault for looking at Trade League, where people, I guess, just flex their money. I don't know. You do not need a 6 link for Fireburst. That was pointed out to me. So sorry if you got misinformed from last video. Hopefully no one spent fusings on their stuff, but yeah, stuff doesn't need to be linked. Luckily, I didn't have to spend any resources and I already had these. I just dropped them like this. And then this one that I did try to 6 link, I only used 3 fusings. But really, I didn't lose anything. So luckily my laziness in looking stuff up was not punished. So rings are the same. I swapped this to channeling cost reduction. That lets me get exactly 9 stacks of Flameblast off without Mastermind of Discord proc. If you don't know what Mastermind of Discord does, it gives me mana regen if I inflicted exposure, which while mapping, Herald of Thunder will always proc exposure on enemies because it's going down and I have it in the Archdemon Crown. And then while bossing, you have Arcanist Brand on the boss, which is linked with Wave of Conviction and Flame Surge. So that's always proccing exposure. So with that Mastermind of Discord proc, you can get to 10 stacks before running out of mana. Like I said, while fighting Cirrus, you can unspec, or you can turn off Herald of Thunder and have way more effective mana for the fight. And then you can also just unsocket Herald of Thunder and put in... instead put in the thingy Clarity, or yeah, Clarity. Or if you don't want to use Clarity, then you can unsocket Herald of Thunder, put Flame Dash in the helmet, and then link Arcane Surge with your Arcanist Brand, depending on what you want to do. But that is definitely an option. Super solid because Herald of Thunder gives you nothing during Cirrus. During other boss fights with ads, it's definitely still probably best to use Herald of Thunder. But for Cirrus specifically, no ad fight, there's no reason to use it. Even if you don't do anything and you just turn it off, it just gives you more mana to work with. Aside from that, helmet's mostly the same. I guess the big change here is I'm now using a sacrificial garb. Why? Because it has an implicit, as of last patch, I think, it's +1 to the level of all Vol skill gems, which makes my Flameblast level 21, because now my Flameblast is level 20. So this is level 21 Flameblast. Very cool. So I basically hit it until I got life. Though this is from normal at Ziri, by the way. I got this when I was farming at Ziri Step for my Toxic Rain Champ. So tier 4 life is actually the max you can get on an eye level 70 piece. So I just rolled it until I got some good resists with tier 4 life and dex, because again, you need dex on the build. And then I rolled on max life is max ES in the prefix, and then crangled it, hit it with corrupted fusings, hit the 6 link. So +1 to all skill gems. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I did the math. If you have to choose between running a sacrificial garb and running a Veritania chest piece with Frenzy Charge on hit, Frenzy Charge on hit is actually more damage. Because the 3 Frenzy Charges is 12% more damage, in addition to 12% increased cast speed, which is just way better. So like on paper, the Frenzy Charges by themselves are more damage than the +1 to Flameblast. And that's on paper. That's not including the cast speed. So it's just much, much better to get the Veritania chest piece. But I still don't have a Veritania chest piece of the right base, so I'm using this for now. More on this later in the to-do list. I'm kind of planning on crafting an insanely nasty, super unethical chest piece I'll get into that once I get to the to-do list more towards the end of the video. So skip to that if you want to hear some really nasty, unethical crafting stuff. Boots are the same. Belt has changed. So I did lose a little bit of life because I'm running tier 2 life now. But I really, really needed lightning res because of this terrible Krangle with minus 21 lightning res. And then I'm using Archdemon Crown, which is minus 10% all res. So I was really hurting on lightning res. So I rolled this tier 2 Stygian Vise. It's got a lot of lightning res, a lot of fire res, and then I crafted on armor, yes. And then the gloves have changed as well. They look almost identical to the last pair of gloves, I know, which is funny, except the life on them is rolled naturally. It's not bench crafted on, which allowed me to put lightning on them. Now, one thing to note is that I actually did get a cold to lightning craft on the helmet. So the helmet did have cold res there. That changed to lightning. So I do need to change my like crafts on my gear a little bit, because I have like a pure lightning craft on the amulet, and then I have a pure lightning craft on the gloves. I can definitely drop those at this point and start running like hybrid chaos. I have fire lightning in the helmet as well. So what I can do is change 1 to lightning and chaos, and then get 2 fire and chaoses, and then I will have back up to like 50-ish to 60-ish percent chaos res. So for Flask, I'm running a Jade, Roomies now, and Quicksilver with still the Eternal Mana Flask. For Cirrus, I took out the Jade Flask and used a second Enduring Mana Flask. Do recommend for boss fights. It helps a lot with quality of life. I didn't have to log out to get Mana Flask charges back the whole fight. Also, Pantheons. I did go ahead and do tier 15 plateau for the reduce effective chill. I got Cannot Be Frozen from Latanius, and Garukon, you get that for free. So there's that. And then I have 15% extra reduce effective shock from my jewel here. And I'm getting phasing from this jewel as well. If I didn't have this jewel that was giving me phasing, this would be a quartz flask instead of a jade flask. So if you don't have phasing automated somewhere else in your gear or anointed on your tree, then definitely use a quartz flask instead of the jade flask. Righto. Now getting on to the links. There have been a few changes. Obviously, since I pat down to Call to Arms, I had to fit Enduring Cry into the build, which meant I had to replace Smoke Mine. It's not that bad. Technically, clear slows down a little bit, but it's honestly not that noticeable with this build. Since you basically just run around anyway, and while you're mapping, you never have to stop moving, it doesn't feel as bad as it does with a lot of builds, using Flame Dash as your only movement ability. So that's, yeah, this used to be Smoke Mine here. I took it out for Enduring Cry. Other than that, Enlighten's halfway to level 3 almost, so hopefully tomorrow it gets level 3, especially if I get lucky with Harvest and get some faceter lenses. I have a lot of Corrupted 21 gems to turn into XP juice to feed it. I did just flip my gems relatively recently, as you can see. Cruelty's only level 11, Quality'd, Ignite Prolift 17, 19 on Swift Affliction, 13 on Unbound Ailments, and 18 on Burning Damage. If you're wondering why Swift Affliction's 19 and almost 20, it's because I got a Harvest plus 10% quality on a gem. So I used it on this, and then I just GCP'd the last 10%, so I didn't have to flip it. So yeah, the map you just saw was definitely not optimal damage because a lot of the support gems are low level. And then for the Fireburst staff, you'll notice all of these gems are just about to hit 20, like literally a few maps away. Everything except Immolate and Added Chaos. They're very, very close. So tomorrow we'll flip those and start leveling those up. And then hopefully by the end of tomorrow's stream, or later today's stream, the gems should be leveled back up to at least 19, preferably 20. Lastly, why chaos damage? Well, so we POB'd it and just added chaos damage. Since all of your damage ignites, you add this chaos to your Fireburst damage. It's actually a lot more damage than Unbound Ailments is. Why is that? Well, for Flameblast, you want Unbound Ailments because you want as long of an ignite as possible. Because it'll be more damage. And Flameblast is like something you only have up every once in a while, especially Vol Flameblast. It's not like a very frequently hitting skill like Armageddon Brand or stuff like that. Unbound Ailments isn't nearly as good for builds like that, but for something that's like a big charge and then a hit that doesn't hit very frequently, Divine Ire being another one, very similar. Ones like that, you really want to Unbound Ailments. Now, Fireburst obviously hits every second, very similar to like Armageddon Brand, so not as good with Unbound Ailments. Chaos damage support ended up being like 15% more damage over Unbound Ailments or something crazy like that. So it's a lot more damage. It's basically like putting in another Immolate. So you have 2 Immolates effectively in the staff. And in terms of crafting, one thing that I'm debating doing, I've been working on getting a backup staff so this doesn't brick. The quality, the AoE harvest craft on that, I only threw that on there because I got it in a garden and I just don't have I haven't found a elemental damage harvest craft, but preferably you would want quality increases elemental damage. Anyway, so I have a beast craft to split an item, and I basically have a 50-50 shot to get a staff that has the level 20 Fireburst and the Fire Dot Multi. So I have a 50-50 shot to get Fireburst and Fire Dot Multi on the same staff, or a 50% chance to brick, and then I get Fireburst on one staff and Fire Dot Multi on another one. Now, if it does brick, I can go kill Mastermind, do Ashling, do the Ashling add unveils after killing Katarina, and then hope and pray that I get Fire Dot Multi back on, but the chances of that are not very high. So I need to craft a good backup before I do that. But I'm not in any rush to do that because I need to meta mod. So why did I just explain all that for the split craft? Well, I need multi-mod to make this a much better weapon. Multi-mod is a suffix. Well, as you can see, my suffixes are full. And my suffixes are full because I have a trash tier 2 life gained hit for each enemy hit by attacks on this staff. Split crafting this is a 50-50 chance of success, whereas just doing an annul is like a 1 in 5 chance of success. If I take off my bench craft, then it's a 50-50 shot again, but that's not a 50-50 shot of success. It's just a 50% chance to not brick the item. Because it can take the fizz damage off the prefix, but if it takes that off, I just break even and I effectively didn't gain or lose anything. However, with the if I were to annul this and I take the prefix off, then I have a 1 in 3 chance to not brick the item or to get the hit that I want. And if I annul it and I end up, taking off the Fire Dot Multi or the Fireburst, the weapon's just dead. It's basically just dead in the water. Whereas if I split it, I have the chance to save it. Anyway, the reason being, I get the multi-mod on this. I can have fire damage, and I can have fire is added chaos. And fire is added chaos will actually give me a ton of more ignite damage. And that's a prefix, obviously. So that's why I want the multi-mod. It will be a pretty massive damage increase for the build. Now, to-do list. Basically, Veritania. Frenzy charges, as I said in the video before, very, very big for the build. Need to get frenzy charges ASAP. The chest piece is nice, but it's not the best. It's a decent holdover until I get a Veritania chest. So, like I said earlier, I did kill a T16 Veritania, and I did get a Veritania chest piece. It is eye level 85. Which means it can roll Frenzy Charge on hit. So, I had an idea. Preferably, Uber at Ziri, so I can get an eye level up to 82, I think. Sacrificial Garb. Thus allowing me to roll up to like tier 2 tier 2. I think tier 2 life. Somewhere between tier 2 and tier 3, tier 3 and tier 2 life on the chest piece instead of being stuck at tier 4. Maybe even tier 1. I don't remember what the max high level is for life on chest pieces. Not that important anyway. Though I only have one set of Uber Ziri fragments, so there's the chance, obviously, that very likely chance that I don't get it. So if I kill Uber Ziri and I don't get it, then we can just farm normal Ziris again for another sacrificial garb, and then I would just have to live with a lower life roll. Where am I going with this? Well, what if we could get a Veritania influenced sacrificial garb? But Fizz, you don't have a Veritania Exalted Orb. True. But I do have a Hunter's Exalted Orb. Right? And with a Hunter's Exalted Orb, I can throw that on a raw sacrificial garb and get it Hunter influence. Now, if I have a Hunter influence sacrificial garb, I can put on percent max life. And then I can Woke Orb, which I don't have, which is why I'm going to start farming Cirrus, and it's why I'm going to set up my Uncharted Realms for Cirrus farming. I'm going to go Adept Tracker and then Thaumaturgical Awakening because I really want to farm Awakened Support Gems because there's like a trillion Awakened Support Gems that are good for this build, and they're very big damage increases for Ignite. Also, I have 2 points I haven't spent, by the way. Anyway. So, gonna farm Cirrus, try to get a Woke Orb. Woke Orb is the easiest part of this plan to get. The Exalted Orbs are a lot more rare. And I already have the hardest part to get. So I can throw a Hunter Exalted Orb on a Bear Sacrificial Garb. Craft it until I get percent max life. Throw the Frenzy Charge Veritania on there with a Woke Orb. And then I can have percent max life with Frenzy Charge on hit. And then preferably an open suffix and an open prefix. So I can multi-mod it if it doesn't hit life. If it doesn't hit a life craft. And then craft on life. And life is max ES. And if it does hit the life, then I can just craft on life is max ES. It all just depends on what the extra suffixes and affixes end up being, what I do with the item. But I can basically guarantee the percent max life and the Frenzy Charge on hit. And then you just pray that, you know, you don't roll like tier 11 life or something on it, because that would be really sad. Probably still worth using, but very sad. Or that you have like full prefixes and then have to annul, because the max life is max ES is actually really important on the build. That's the current plan. So tomorrow, we're going to start farming Awakener ad nauseum. You can tell I've already, like, we spawned Awakener, killed him, and we're working on going for the next one. But yeah, that's currently where the character's at. Character feels quite strong. Been having a blast, as you can see. My raw HP now is like 7.1k roughly. If I had a Glorious Vanity, it would be about 9k. And obviously, the more ES you get, the more beneficial ES Leech becomes as well. So both ES Leech and Divine Shield become better with more ES. But yeah, that's currently where the character's at. I'm excited to keep pushing the character, getting more gear. I have been farming Lyra Arthane mostly. Still looking for the unique contract to get the Heist helmet for the Spectral Helix character. If you're wondering why no update on the Spectral Helix character, it's basically because I'm just waiting to drop the helmet from the Heist. But I have yet to drop the unique Heist that I'm looking for. So, that's pretty much everything. If you guys have any questions or whatever, concerns, blah, 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 feel free to shoot them down in the comments below. So impressions on the build thus far. Build's pretty solid, honestly. Build's doing pretty well. What I'm likely to do in the future is to drop the Archdemon Crown and probably grab like an Elder Influence Internal Bergonet helmet. That would be my preferred base. And then just harvest craft it to have like increased duration of ailments. and or increased burning damage. Obviously that's like good for like RF and stuff, like socketed gyms. I don't care about the socketed bonuses. I just care about the global increased duration and burning damage and stuff like that. Because Elder Helmets can also roll flat damage to spells, but basically I want to try to min-max my damage. The exposure, basically this just helps Herald of Thunder give me exposure on like tanky rares and maps, so I don't have to use Arcanist Brand if I face something super tanky in the map. It's like a small quality of life for mapping, but ultimately if I can get like an Elder Helmet with like flat fire to spells, I think I could also get that on a Drox helmet as well, but flat fire to spells with like burning damage or increased ailment duration, something like that would be worth more to me realistically, because it would also increase my single target damage a lot, which is nice. But something like that is what I'm going to be looking for. Probably replace that. Still definitely going to be on the search for a better belt as well. Once all of that is out of the way, I might start looking towards replacing the boots, but these boots are going to be hard to replace, honestly, because they're pretty good. I would have to do harvest for a little bit. And then I am still slowly working on getting better gloves as well. I'm out of blessed orbs. Yeah. Well, that's yeah, that's currently where the character's at. Need to finish rolling the gyms and everything and get them leveled up. And yeah, I did a few 10 ways as well, by the way. They actually went super smooth. 10 ways are obviously a clusterfuck, so you don't have a lot of time to sit and channel Flameblast, but basically all you do is you just keep Arcanist Brand up,
and not before.
And it will just keep rocking Fireburst, and then you basically have Flameblast off cooldown the entire time. It was actually very smooth. You just keep Arcanist Brand up, and then you get a Flameblast, and then you pop it, and then 3 seconds later you get it again, and you pop it, and then you pop it. Like, yeah, it's super smooth. It actually surprised me, because I was expecting 10 ways to be very painful, but they weren't. They were very smooth. Anywho, gonna end the video here. Another really long one. There will be timestamps as usual. If you made it this far and watched all the way through, be sure to let me know in the comments. And yeah, gonna end this one here. If you guys are enjoying the build, if you're playing along, feel free to let me know. But yeah, take it easy, guys. Make sure if you like the video, thumbs it up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. Tell me what I can do better. And if you like me, maybe consider subbing. Content's out pretty much daily. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye.